Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Kim Courts.
Hello, we haven't begun yet.
Yep.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Turn that on, but
No, not really.
here, let me go.
Okay.
There you go.
What's up? What's up, everybody?
Hey, Jeff.
How you doing?
You doing some like quadratic equations on the chalkboard behind you?
Some other people are doing some crazy stuff. That's none of my math. I got simple math.
Maybe you were homeschooling or something.
No, I'm at work, man. They don't let me stay home. I've worked every day since the stuff's gone down.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if there's really a thank you. It's just a keep coming into work.
So Jennifer, this is Sherry. If you need me to, I can kind of give you a heads up on who's joined, but it's right at 101 now.
It looks like Jennifer's microphone's muted and so is her video.
I see that. We'll unmute her. May not be able to do that. Jennifer, try unmuting yourself. It's not letting me hear. You may have to just call back right back in. And you should be fine.
Did
Stay
that
on
work?
yours. What's that?
Hello.
We're getting the feedback now.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Hi, this is Mandelaris. I just called in.
Okay, thanks, John.
Okay, this is Jeff Cipher.
Jennifer, just have your computer on mute if you would, and then your phone.
Got it.
should help you.
Okay. Still not working.
I think that's coming from John.
Yeah, so this is kind of a good thing. So welcome, everybody. My name is Sherry Aguila. I'm just helping to moderate the Zoom meeting for Jennifer and the team. Typically, we like to make sure that you're muted if you're not talking, so please ensure you can mute. I can do that as well, but just to be aware, and if you can use a handset or headset, don't use your speakerphone feature because that becomes very muffled. And then, obviously we have some on video, some not, so just please identify when starting to make a comment. Also, just want to make sure everybody was aware that this is streaming on YouTube, and that has already kicked off. So with that, I will be quiet. Let me know if you need anything. Jennifer, go right ahead.
Can you tell me Deanna Turner's on?
Deanna, I do not see her, no. I see some iPhones, so maybe those are.
Is Bill Brandon on?
Yes, Bill's here.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Good man.
Sherry, I'm still getting feedback.
Your computer is muted.
Yes.
Is there anybody else in the room with you?
You're gonna have to get Sadie.
He's not on a phone though.
On the phone?
He's on the same phone as me.
Okay.
I see a black box up here that says John, but there's no picture.
Yeah, that means wouldn't have his video turned on.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback.
Can you try muting John, see if that's the one where it's coming from? Because that's when it seemed to start.
Yep.
Where do I mute it from? Where's the mute?
There is at the bottom of your screen, there's the first icon is mute. The second one is start video.
It says
Yep.
join audio here, and then it says start video.
He sounds okay when he's talking. It seems to be me.
I can look at while you guys start, but I would just
Sherry, can you mute everybody and then
Yeah.
open it up for
Yeah.
Bill Brandon to start the meeting?
I can.
Do we have recording secretary here?
Mark, I don't think we have Deanna here.
Deanna just emailed me and asked me for the Zoom info. So I don't know if someone can forward that to her real quickly.
Okay.
If you have an email, I can, but I don't have her email.
It's DEACHR 519.
Okay.
At, oh gosh, is it Gmail or? Frank, do you have it right there?
Let me check.
I'm not sure if she's Gmail or Yahoo.
I think she's Yahoo. Oh, come on. Yeah, Yahoo. DEACHR 519 at yahoo.com.
Okay, I'll go ahead and email it to her.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
Frank, what was that one again?
For Deanna,
Yeah.
DEACHR 519 at
Okay.
yahoo.com.
I sent her this email yesterday. I had to E in her name.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
ER.
Yeah, I did too.
Hello, David.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
All right.
Come on. Come on.
Still doing it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get my tea.
Jennifer, I can text them to see if they can help, but, for you. I emailed that to her.
Can you hear me? No, my microphone is.
Who was that?
Ugh.
We can hear you. Who was that?
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I can barely hear. Let me try. Hear anyone? This is not good. Oh crap. Oh, I can hear much better now. Okay, I'm good. Technology.
All right, Deanna, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you good. IT's gonna fix our.
I have a lot of feedback. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, Tim's here, he's gonna try.
It's muted there.
Is there a way to see everyone on one screen? Scroll to your left.
What's all these iPhones are? Just various people.
Yes. Some people are saying that.
Sherry,
Yes.
the only way Tim can get this to work is if he mutes me and Bill.
Well, I don't know enough about what we're supposed to be muted.
I know, and I can't, it's hard for me to fix that.
The computer is muted,
Okay, good.
so the sound's coming over the phone, over this speaker phone.
Yeah, because every time it's coming through there is when the issue is.
I mean, this is the only phone that's connected to this meeting, right there. right?
Only,
Nobody's connected by a cell phone in here or anything.
that's what I was wondering.
Would it be better to do it by cell phone?
If you just dialed in for, Jennifer, if you maybe just dialed in a cell phone, that might be better. I know it's not ideal, but
Okay, we're gonna try that. Can you give us the number?
yep, 1 second.
We're already logged out of my email.
But
It is. So 1-312 626 6799.
In the meeting ID?
929 2688.
9292688.
Yep, 6243.
okay. So I've got muted here.
Okay, we're gonna hang up on this phone.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim.
There it is again.
Mute any cell phone that's in here. Any other cell phone,
Like, mute as in.
because I turned on the,
I muted this one.
cell phone's muted. Why is it picking it up?
It is possible it is the computer, so you might want to log back in and out again. I can share the screen as well. That's another option, Jennifer. You want to,
You think it's the computer sound?
well, if you're back in on the cell phone and now it's still
You
going.
tried to
There's
go to
something in the,
dashboard.
Well, this thing will still be making noise.
Give me a second. I think I'm gonna do something.
This one's turned off.
I think it's picking up the microphone.
oh, in the, for the commissioner, you mean?
So I'm gonna disable.
Hey, Jeff, you look like a little gamer there, man.
Hey, Jeff, how's it going, guy?
Pretty good yourself?
Are you sitting there with your winter coat on or something?
A little bit, yeah. Some of us got to go out in the real world, man. I mean, I had to drive into work this morning. Cold out. It's only 40.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was going to play golf today, but instead we got this meeting here.
I got golf tonight.
So where you playing at?
Briar Ridge.
Okay, do they allow carts now at Briar Ridge?
We talked about it last week, and this was before the governor came out and said that she was letting carts out. So we were talking about walking this week and hopefully ride carts next week. So I'm hoping I get to ride a cart tonight.
I could understand if they did one person per cart. You know, that way you could keep your social distancing.
Yeah, like I said, my partner that I golf with, we actually ride together. So I'm like, I'm not that worried about it.
Okay. Well, Kim, how are you doing? Kim, I think you got your mic turned off. I see your lips moving, but you're not hearing anything.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, sorry. It keeps turning on and off.
Well, that's technology for you.
Okay, I'm good to go.
All right, let's see. I know John Bandeleris was out there, but I don't know what happened to him.
Nothing coming through, John.
No.
Oh, this is.
Somebody's dog barking?
You know, I wonder if that feedback is coming courtesy of John, because when he comes on, you get the doot, 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 doot.
Blame it on Frank.
Yeah, Frank.
It is not me.
You're an
If you-
easy target.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. If you open up the participant window, you can see whose mics are going. So when Jennifer unmutes herself, you can see her microphone just spikes. So it's something on Jennifer's side.
Oh, really?
Hey, Mark, is Josh, are you in the building? Or are you not?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I was
He's
gonna
got
say
that pretty
maybe,
picture behind him. Oh, he's got to be at home.
maybe Josh could come down and help if they can't get it going.
Sherry?
Yes,
I wondered if this thing had a built-in
I'm right here.
microphone.
All right, we're gonna have Sherry share the screen.
Okay.
She sounds better now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have no feedback coming from you, Jennifer.
Enter your meeting ID.
Another thought, are there anybody else in the room that has computers with the speakers on?
I do.
Or participant
Oh,
ID.
in the same room as Jennifer, sorry.
Oh, sorry, no.
I'm about
Sherry?
20 miles away, so I don't
We're
think I'm
gonna just disconnect the computer and let you share the screen.
Okay, that's fine. I don't hear
Oh,
any,
it's working. It's working now.
it is fine now.
I don't know. Tim's here. I don't know what he did. We don't know what he did, but it's
Well, the
working.
microphone, I
Okay.
disabled the microphone on this computer.
Okay. We should be good now.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you, it's fine.
Let's go.
All right, we will finally call this meeting order at 1:19 on April the 6th, 2020.
No, May.
Like I said, May.
May 11th.
My mistake.
What's the
Clerk-
date there?
What's that, Mark?
What's the date?
May 11th, 2020.
Okay.
All right, clerk, please take the roll.
Brandon,
Here.
Carpenter,
Here.
Quartz. She must be muted.
Here.
I see her. Seifert,
here.
Khan,
She was gonna call in.
okay. Oh, geez. Hang on, I lost everybody. Oh, okay. Should I just put her down as not here right now?
Yeah, I would put her on
Okay.
as not here.
Mandalaris,
He was here.
I see him.
I was gonna say, I see John and I actually see a symbol for Tracy as well.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
oh, I hear.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think- Yeah, I
Okay.
seen John waving, but I can't hear him.
Okay. Russell,
Mhm.
Young,
Here?
Okay, public address. We'll open it up to public address. I
We didn't have any
can't imagine
emails.
we'll have any emails for anyone, and I can't imagine anybody's gonna be able to get through now. Last chance for public address. None. Okay, we'll move on to communication items. Ms. Simpson, to discuss the delay in the actuary report.
Crystal, are you with us?
I do not see her name. There's some iPhones, I don't know the number, but I don't see Crystal's name.
She's on. She just texted me, said she's on, so there must be a... No, we can't hear you, Crystal.
You know what number she is ending in, maybe? Last 3 digits?
She's gonna call back in.
Okay.
I'm guessing from that 955, the same trunk line as everybody else. Matt Pleasant fixes.
Perhaps you move forward with the approval of the minutes until we hear back from Ms. Simpson?
That's an excellent advice, sir. How about if we move on to agenda item A, approval of minutes from April 6, 2020.
Move it.
them.
I
Support.
got a move and support, Young and
Courts.
Courts. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Brandon,
You got a
What was
roll
it?
call.
could I get just some clarification? Are we still doing roll call vote?
Yes.
We should.
Okay.
You know what? Yes, we better do roll call on all of them. I guess we'll call for any discussion on moving the minutes. None? All right, we'll take the roll call vote.
Brandon,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Quartz,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Mandelaris,
He gave a
Lose
thumbs
John
up.
again?
Russell,
He's not with us.
did we lose him?
No,
No, Russell.
wasn't joining today.
Yeah, Russell's not gonna be here.
Oh, I thought I heard him. Okay, I'm sorry. And Young,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, motion carried. We have Ms. Simpson back yet?
Yep, she's on her way. She's gonna just join us in the conference room.
Cut the technology out, much easier.
Yep. They're ready for you. Hopefully I can talk after running.
All right, Ms. Simpson, join us right in the conference room.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
What's up?
All right. So the update on the actuarial evaluation, as you all know, we have a lot of alternative investments that we hold for GSERS. A lot of investments are easy to value, so stocks that we have, we can go out onto Yahoo Finance at any point in time, type in a date and a ticker symbol, and you can get that value of at any point in time. But these alternative investments, we have to wait to get audited statements, and we recalculate the value of what we own in each of those investments. So a lot of those came in the end of April. We got 2 of them even last Friday. Jennifer got those in her box. So the difference between what Comerica reported at the end of December and what we're calculating is about a $2.6 million difference, which is a big number. And it's not material for GSERS as a whole, but when we do that valuation where we spread it across employers, City of Mount Morris and the library are very small, so it is material to those employers. So we are going to have to book a journal entry to increase our investments as well as investment income. So that is delaying the numbers to get to the actuary. They are working on it. They have a lot of it done. They just need to drop in our asset numbers to be able to give that valuation to you. So in the past, it hasn't been that big of a difference. Comerica must have had better information, or something happened in the audits this year where there were audit adjustments. So when going from the unaudited to audited numbers, there was that $2.6 million difference. So that's why we do that recalculation when we get the statements, to make sure that the value that Comerica has and what it should be are accurate. And like I said, Comerica goes with whatever they get the partnerships at that point in time. But unfortunately, there's an audit adjustment, that value could fluctuate up or down from what Comerica had at that point in time. So we're working very closely with NIHART. They know we just got the last 2 statements, like I said, Friday evening. So we're working on those today. So it shouldn't be much longer for them to get that evaluation completed.
And we're anticipating this being finalized, ready for presentation at the June meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Crystal, just for clarification, are the audited numbers more or less than the numbers that Comerica had previously reported?
Yeah, so the good news is it's higher. The audited numbers are higher by the 2.6 million. So actually it will help our funding percentage. So that's the good news. The bad news is it's just you weren't able to get the valuation completed as timely as we have in the past.
Thank you.
Sure.
Moving on to, we have no old business. We'll move on to new business. Investment performance by Chris Kuhn at ANCO.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. So as you can probably expect, and I think you can pause on slide 12. Should have the colorful bar charts. Yep, right there.
12?
Back one more.
That's 2?
One, yeah,
2?
one more. Yes, right there. as everyone I think kind of knows, it was a really bad quarter in the markets. And, you know, we had a decent start to the year. You know, the market moved higher in January and then towards the end of the month sold off, then kind of continued back on an upward trajectory and really peaked, you know, at all-time highs kind of mid to late February before the full brunt of COVID-19 kind of hit and, you know, just basically wiped out the economy. And really, you know, there were some sectors that were hit harder than others, think retail and travel. But, you know, when you think about the sectors that, you know, saw very little impact, there are very few of them. I mean, it was really across the board, just kind of taking everything straight down. And from peak to trough, we were down about 30-some%, depending on the index you're looking at. And just to kind of refresh everyone's memory, when you go down like 33%, that means you have to make 50% back just to get to even. So, as I said, we really did fall down a pretty steep hole. And what I would tell you is a little bit different about this time was that the quickness of that decline was really unparalleled in any of our lifetimes. So when we lost that 35% in the market, it literally took us 23 trading days, or about 1 month. So think of kind of end of like the last week of February, and then really it ended on March 23rd. So that span of time, we lost 35%. To put that in perspective, the similar amount lost back during the great financial crisis of 2008, it took us about a year. And if you think back to the tech bubble bursting back in 2000, it took us about a year to get there at that point as well. So what we did in less than a month was equivalent to like a year's losses the last 2 times that we've seen these kind of drops in the market. And so as I said, it was just devastating how quickly the capital went out. And we literally started the rebound before the quarter ended. So that last week in March, we actually saw the market starting to come back. And a lot of that had to do with the government stepping in. So we had the Federal Reserve step in and provide some liquidity to the market. You know, we saw the federal government step in and you know, come up with a $1 trillion package to help offset kind of the slowdown that we're feeling now into our second month of, you know, social distancing, stay-at-home orders, and every state's a little bit different. And so, as I said, kind of coming out of this, every state is kind of having a different experience as well. So when we look at the actual quarter, what you're going to see is that, you know, the S&P was actually the best performer on the equity side, and it was down almost 20%. When we moved into the international markets, down a little bit more than that. You can see kind of low 20s. And then when we move into the riskier parts of the US market, mid caps and small caps, closer to 30% loss for the quarter. The one bright side that we saw within investments was actually US Treasuries. So if you're looking at those green bars, you'll notice there's an 8% return for the Barclays US Government Index. Now, offsetting that is that Bloomberg Barclays Corporate IG, those are your investment grade corporate bonds. You can see they were down almost 4%. So just because it was fixed income did not mean you were safe. You had to be in the safest parts of the fixed income market, really AAA government backed type securities to really not feel the brunt of the virus. On top of that, we also had an oil war start right about the same time as the market's first drop between Saudi Arabia and Russia. And so we did see oil prices go dropping significantly. It was good because if you had to buy gas, you know, it's a lot cheaper. The problem is no one's driving, so no one's buying gas. And that's part of the reason for the decline in oil prices is that there's a lot less demand for oil today than there was 2 months ago before all of this. So as I said, just, you know, incredibly devastating numbers across the board on the equity side, and really taking down the 1-year numbers. You can see 1-year numbers, the S&P is down about 7%, and the international market's kind of mid-teens and kind of high teens into the 20s for the mid-cap, small-cap numbers here in the U.S. Much more pain felt in those areas of the market. And then you can see the positive side is fixed income. So we do see positive results across the board, led by government, so the safest area of the market. Any questions kind of market related? All right. Why don't we jump ahead to slide 21? So this is the performance, and really no good news here. So you can see the fund was down just over 11%. These are preliminary numbers. We do have just under 10% of the portfolio not reporting at this point in time. And those are really those real estate managers, really the managers that Crystal just referenced, kind of delaying the final numbers for the audit. Well, we have that same issue on the performance side, that a handful of the real estate managers take somewhere between 45 and 60 days usually to finalize their market values. And so this number is going to change a little bit. As I said, in the past, it's generally been a positive, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But you can see down about 11.5. A little bit ahead of our policy index. I realize that really doesn't give you any comfort. The other number, the one in parentheses at 25, means that you did better than 75% of the other public funds. As I said, really doesn't offer you any comfort knowing how big these losses are. It's just there are a lot of funds that did quite a bit worse than you. And that kind of holds true for your 1-year number. You can see you're down just under 2%. And in the top 15% of public funds. Over that same period of time, the average public fund was down almost 5%. So you did about 3% better than average, and actually nicely ahead of our policy index. So remember, the policy index, that's just if everything had been indexed and held exactly at policy weight, that's the number we would expect, that negative 4.97. And as I said, we actually did quite a bit better than that. One, I would say, I don't want to say maybe a shock, but a surprise was low vol. Our outperformance was not really driven by low vol. That portfolio historically has done really nice in these types of periods, taking maybe 60% of the downside. We're closer to like 90% of the downside this time around. And so that was performed a little bit better than the S&P 500, but not a whole lot, not as much as we would have anticipated. And that really goes, the other equity managers we have. The one that really did outperform was Earnest, but you can see they actually were almost the worst of the group, down close to 30. That value side of the market, though, really got punished. You can see it was down 35. I would say, on a relative bright side was our international equity exposure. So both WCM and First Eagle had really good relative quarters, still lost in the mid-teens, but not nearly as bad as the market. And both of them, I think, outperformed by about 6% and ranked way up at the top of the peer group. You can see they're both single-digit peer group rankings. And that really kind of holds for the full year as well. You can see both of them had a really strong 1-year performance. In the case of WCM, we actually have a positive result, only 18 basis points. But you can see their benchmark was actually down over 15. So as I said, they actually have done a tremendous job. Part of that is just that growth versus value relationship. Growth stocks have done so much better than value that we're kind of at a third standard deviation event of the difference in performance between the two styles. And you would expect at some point that to come back. I'm not holding my breath on that, though. And on the fixed income side, I kind of pointed this out when we were going over the markets, both of our managers underperformed. In the case of SIT, they were actually really, really close to the benchmark. But in the case of Mackay, you can see underperformance over 1%. And really it has to do with their corporate bond exposure. They had an overweight to corporate bonds. Obviously, that was not the place to be this quarter. And so that's where you're seeing kind of some underperformance from them. SIT basically on top. You do note like how well the benchmark did during this period. You can see it's in the top quartile of active management in that core fixed income space. We want to flip ahead one more. We have the real estate managers. Another bright spot for the portfolio, both positive, both ranking close to the top 10% within real estate. And in the case of the PRESA 3, you can see we're actually in the top percentile for this period. And both managers have done a nice job over the past year providing positive results there. So generally speaking, pretty good numbers. I will just kind of warn you. So real estate tends to be kind of a lagging asset class. And so just like we saw back in 2008, the equity market cratered in 2008, hit its lows in March of 2009. Real estate really didn't start seeing kind of those negative numbers flow into the space until like 2009, 2010. We could be looking at something similar in real estate going forward. That the next couple quarters, the next year might be quite a bit more challenging for real estate than what we saw this quarter. Particularly, we've seen managers kind of across the board with what their rent collections were in March and really April. We're still just getting the numbers in April at this point. As some are coming in around 90% of their tenants paying. Others have been down in the 50s and 60s, and really has to do with their exposures. The more retail you have, the worse your collections have been. And kind of the more industrial focused your portfolio has been, kind of the better the rent collections have been. But as I said, that's a space that we think is continuing to evolve, both on the retail and the office front. I think you're seeing more and more, work from home. People are seeing like this actually is working. And, many managers are kind of suggesting that their office needs might be less going forward than they have been historically. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that in the space. I would say the one good part of your portfolio is that you do have quite a bit of value add within it. And so these kind of markets, dislocations that we're seeing in the markets, these are the type of times where we generally will see managers probably put up some of their best numbers. If you can find that distressed seller and take advantage of that situation, those are the times where sometimes these value add strategies really perform well. So I'm going to pause there and see if there's any kind of questions about the performance report.
Chris, this is Jeff.
Yes.
Did any of our managers' performance be such that they are so out of sync with the norm that we should be looking at probationary for any of the managers?
No. As I said, the one that I would circle and say kind of was probably weaker than we might have thought would have been Mackay. I will tell you, I've seen fixed income managers all over the place this quarter. Some what I would consider are pretty good managers actually having negative numbers for the quarter. In the case of Mackay, you can see they underperformed by about 130 basis points, but they actually finished in the middle of the pack for kind of that core intermediate fixed income. So that was the one that probably underperformed by the largest amount within your portfolio. And so, and I would tell you, I have no concerns about them at all. I've checked with them, and I think they've made back like 30 or 40 of that. Now it was, I think, a week and a half ago that I actually touched base with them. I think they said they had made back like 30 to 40 basis points of that underperformance. So we are seeing them kind of come back as the corporate bond market has settled down in April and continuing to into May. Any other questions? Bless you. If we can, I'm going to jump ahead to 68. Which should have, yes, exactly. That bright little chart there on the right side. This is the April numbers. So these are completely opposite of what we just looked at. April was a really good month for equities, and you can see the S&P was up almost 13%, and right in line with kind of mid caps and small caps. That's the Russell 2000. As I said, really nice kind of rebound numbers here. You can still see the 3-year number, the year-to-date numbers are negative across the board, but you know, all of our equity indexes were positive. International markets not quite as strong, and you can see there the MSCI, EFA, and EM, both of them in that single digit. EM, emerging markets, doing a little bit better, just over 9%. So as I said, that's the good news. I did want to point out, I mentioned this difference between growth and value. I think you can really see it here. So if you come across there, that Russell 1000 growth and that Russell 1000 value, growth obviously are going to be like tech stocks, your Amazons and Netflix and things like that. Value stocks historically are going to be more kind of your banks, some of your cyclicals, manufacturing, consumer staples, those types of names. And you can see growth over the past 12 months up almost 11%. Value down 11%. Completely opposite directions. That was that third standard deviation event I was referring to, this huge difference in performance over that period of time. And you can see it even goes out now 3 and 5 years. There's a meaningful difference between those two. Generally, you do not see that big of a gap between those two for that long, and that you'll see kind of value come back. We've been waiting for that for a while, though. That's why I was saying I wouldn't hold my breath. Fixed income also enjoyed a pretty decent month there. And then you can see led by that U.S. corporate investment grade. That's that same index that was down about 4% in the first quarter. You can see it was up about 5% here in March alone, and really drove a lot of the performance of the U.S. aggregate and that rebound I mentioned in Mackay. So, any questions kind of about April? And we've seen kind of a continuation of this into May. It hasn't been quite this strong though. And then I do have some updated market values on 69. So you'll notice that we're pretty close to our targets here. Instead, a little bit over on the international side, a little bit light on domestic equities, a little bit over in fixed income. We're going to take a look at our liquidity needs here in a second and address that that overweight in fixed income. And then you can see all of the real estate managers listed underneath there. Good news is Aledade 2 is literally, they've sold the last set there. And that'll be coming off the books completely. There's a little bit of money kind of still held there for residual expenses, and then they'll terminate that fund. But other than that, kind of the real estate portfolio has held up really well, and we'll have to kind of wait and see how it fares, over the next 12 months. And then you can see our cash is just under $11 million as of a couple days ago. And any questions there? Just in case you were looking, we finished the quarter. This is $407 million. We are, as of May 6th, you can see $422 million. So we've added about $15 million over the last month and a half. Any questions there? And then if you move up one slide, we have the liquidity plan for the next 3 months or through the third quarter.
Do we need to approve that before we do the liquidity schedule, or can we do those together, Frank? Do we need to
I think
take a
you can do
vote?
them together. I don't think you have to do them separately. It's up to the board.
Okay.
All right, we'll just, go ahead, Chris, if you want to finish up the liquidity, and then we'll vote to approve or disapprove both.
Okay, sounds good. So the liquidity schedule, you can see down at the bottom, we have just, under the $11 million that we saw from the prior spreadsheet. This kind of walks you through expected pays and things. I have updated it a little bit. I think, we were targeting like 3.9 million in benefit pays. I looked back over the last 12 months. Looks like it's a little bit over 4 at this point. So as I added a little bit there, also kind of updated the numbers for the anticipated contributions based on what we've seen coming into the plan. And so based on kind of all of the updated numbers, the recommendation I have for you is to take 3 million from SIT in June and then 5 million from Mackay in July. And if you look at the very bottom line, our target is to keep around $8 million there, and that'll take us out through September. And all of this is subject to change based on, we've put $1 million in here for capital calls. That number might be a little bit more, and we might have to come back to you a little bit earlier. Or those numbers might not, we might not get any capital calls, and then, we'd be good through September.
This is Seifert. Chris, are you finished with this part of your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve the liquidity schedule and the investment performance report.
Support.
Yeah, move and accepted. Any, want to go to roll call vote? Any discussion needed? Anybody? Go ahead, Deanna.
Okay, Carpenter,
Yes.
okay. Quartz,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Khan,
Yeah.
Mandelaris. Okay. Russell,
Russell's not here.
oh, that's right. Young,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
motion carried.
I do have a couple more kind of housekeeping items for you, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
One is Aledade. So Friday night, we received a notice from Aledade Capital that they would like to restate their limited partnership agreement for funds 3 and 4. So those are the two that are still active. All they're looking at doing is clarifying their definition of loan to value within the portfolio. So there was a different interpretation of that, the way it's currently written. And so they think all they're doing is really clarifying what the intent of the document was and taking out some of the confusion around that term. So I know that Frank's office has received it, and I'll let him comment on where he's at with that review process.
Thanks, Chris. So Aaron Castle from our office had reviewed a prior draft of this second amendment for both funds 3 and 4, had requested some changes that Aledade did make. He reviewed these documents over the weekend and confirmed with me that the changes he requested have been included. So if the board wants to take action to approve that change today, we're okay with it from a legal standpoint.
This is Seifert. I would so move we approve the change in the document.
Carpenter, support.
Any discussion?
Yeah, did anybody else receive copies of that information?
I did. This is Jennifer.
Yeah, did any of the other board members, voting board members, receive copies of it?
No.
I don't believe so. I
Yeah.
sent them over earlier today, like minutes before the meeting. So.
Yeah, I can't support it coming to us from the floor like this and us not having any prior discussion on it.
I completely understand. If we want to hold off and just put this onto the next month's agenda, that's fine with us. As I said, it came in like 6 o'clock Friday night. So I told them I did not anticipate you guys actually acting on it for that reason. But I did want to make sure we brought it up at this meeting.
Okay. We will, we'll push this back and hold the vote on that after we have the information in June's meeting.
And then the last item I have, obviously we're kind of going through unprecedented times right now. I think this actually would be an ideal time for us to have an investment committee meeting, just to kind of review the current portfolio, kind of our exposures, and then also taking a look at what opportunities are out there that we may or may not want to pursue going forward. So I did want to see if there's any appetite from the investment committee to let you know that this is something that we think would be timely.
I think that's a fantastic idea. The sooner the better, frankly. Have you got a date in mind, Chris?
I don't. I will tell you, I have lots of flexibility in my schedule these days.
You and everybody else.
Do you want to send over a couple dates and I'll send it to the investment committee and see what we can, okay, perfect.
All right,
thank you,
that
Chris.
will include everything I have for you today.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. We'll move on to C3, schedule of deceased retirees.
This is Seifert, a motion to accept the deceased retirees report.
Support.
Seifert and Young, any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Quartz,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Mandelaris,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion carried.
How are we paying Genesee County?
Cash allocations for the building and the space and stuff like that.
Really, we pay them rent?
Think we get it for free?
Yeah, I got a better spot. If you're paying $5,000. Yeah, I got a spot. Okay, so approved. Moving on to C4, schedule of billings and expenses.
This is Seifert. I would move to approve even over Brandon's discussion about rent.
Shop around for our retirees, sir. Can I get a second?
I'll support it, Carpenter.
Any further discussion?
Who made the motion? I'm sorry.
Seifert.
Thank you.
I have a
Any
question.
further discussion?
I have a, Tracy.
Go ahead, Tracy.
My question is about the management fees. Typically, our managers were liquidating investments and it was being paid that way. So who are we paying cash to?
Is this the, Comerica? Wait, cash.
Third from the bottom, 52,000. Trust activity.
I'm sorry, that's Comerica? I think that was.
On top of custodial fees
Does that include the 42,000 that was the benefit, now that they're paying the benefits for us? Is that 42,000 included?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure without, I don't know what just happened.
I think that includes, they didn't bill us for the full year. They took over the actual benefit payments for us, Comerica, and so they put that 42,000 on that same invoice as what they normally bill us for the management fee. So it was split to the proper account number. It just.
They didn't bill us at all in 2019. They forgot to bill us.
All right, so it's not all management fees. Okay.
No. It was split properly in the general ledger, but yeah, right up there it says management fees.
Right. Thank you.
Anything else? Madam Clerk?
Seifert,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Mandelaris,
Yeah.
Young,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Quartz.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on, C5, schedule of new retirees.
Move to accept.
Support,
Support.
Seifert.
Young and Seifert. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Khan,
Yes.
Mandelaris,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Quartz,
Yes.
Seifert.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
C6, reemployed retirees.
This is Young. Move to accept.
Court, support.
Young and Courts. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Mandelaris,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Quartz,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Khan.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
You C7, schedule of refunds.
Move to
Take a motion.
accept. This is Young.
Carpenter, support.
Young and Carpenter, any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Young,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Quartz,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Mandelaris.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Moving on to the Secure Act requirements. I believe this would be Mr. Judds.
Yes, thank you, everyone. You have a memo from our office that is currently on your screen with a box in the middle. It's entertaining me, I'm sorry. The memo really briefly summarizes what changes need to be made to your 402 notice. Your 402 notice is the document you provide to any member who's receiving a lump sum distribution from your plan. If you remember, the CARES Act previously and the Secure Act changed the age for the minimum or the required minimum distribution from 70 and a half to age 72. So that is the required provision that's there on page 1 or page 76 in your packet. On the following page, we have optional provisions that can be made by your plan sponsor. They're permissive. They allow for in-service distributions at different ages. Those sections there, sub 1 and sub 2, are on defined contribution and deferred comp plans, which you do not administer. So the remaining part of the memo is a revised 402 notice. The revisions are mainly changing the age that's referenced from 70 and a half to 72. There are a couple other little changes that are grammatical in nature and clarifications, nothing major. But again, what you have is a draft. So if you approve this, I will provide a final version to Jennifer for distribution, which would take away the red line and would include, the formal name of the plan. Right now, I think it's just a filler that says retirement system. So that's there for your approval. One other note is that the Secure Act requires that your plan document be amended to correctly reference the age 72 instead of age 70 and a half. I quickly reviewed your plan doc. Section 27, which includes all of your optional forms of benefit, does reference age 70 and a half specifically. So we do need to go in and change that to 72. The government has given us till the end of plan year 2024 to make that change. So it's certainly not pressing, but it's something that we need to do and sort of not forget about. One thought I had was, if the Board of Commissioners has not yet acted on the prior change we sent to them about CFO and making sure that Crystal Simpson is a retirement commission member, perhaps I can add revisions to that memo. But if it's already been adopted and is in the county board's hands, I sort of would rather let them adopt that one first and not get in the way, or but I'll leave it up to the board for their recommendation. However you want me to approach that, I will.
It's up to the board's hands already.
I think it's on the agenda for Wednesday. It already went through the committee. I think it's on the board agenda for Wednesday.
Okay, so we'll do it as separate ordinance amendments then. I feel like someone had a question there that was they were about to ask me.
Yeah, Frank, could we, this is Jeff Carpenter, could we actually, instead of making it 70, from 70.5 to 72, could we say per IRS guidelines? Just in case they ever switch it to 73, we don't have to go through this again.
Sure, yeah, that's a good idea. We could do that. I could simply state, the age as required by IRS and, section number, whatever. It should be 402F or something, or 401A9. I don't remember the exact number, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Do we want to take a motion on this today, or?
I'd like a motion to approve at least the 402 notice, and I can bring back this amendment, in June or July.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion.
And I make a motion to approve the 402 notice.
Support,
Ms.
Seifert.
Ms. Khan and Seifert. Any other discussion? Ms. Clerk?
Brandon,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Quartz,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Mandelaris,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
Okay, thank you. And if I may, before we move over to David Goldsmith, I'd like to add 2 more quick sort of legislative updates for everyone's attention. As you know, Governor Whitmer has been issuing executive orders at a pretty good clip lately. She issued 2 that are of relevance to this board. One allows for electronic signatures and electronic notarization of documents, which is important for anyone who may be applying for retirement, changing their beneficiary form, etc. So the governor's executive order says that the electronic signatures are permitted, and she extended a previous order, so that will now end on June 30th. So it extends through next month. The Open Meetings Act executive order that she issued that says public bodies like yourself can meet through these meetings that we're using today, or teleconference, or some other way. She extended that order also through June 30th. So I wanted everybody to be aware that our June meeting will likely be conducted in the same manner. And if she doesn't extend it any further, perhaps in July we're meeting in person, but we'll see. So for now, we've extended both of those through June 30.
All right, thank you, sir. We had Mr. Goldsmith waiting for quite a while.
It's okay, no problem at all. Good afternoon, and it's nice to see and hear you. So just very briefly, I know I think we're close to the end of the agenda. So last meeting, you may recall, I mentioned that there's an appeal that was taken by the objector to the in the ISDAFIX case, the Fortinbras party. So I have a quick update on that. So it looks like we're going to be litigating that appeal. We've made some efforts to consult with the Fortinbras constituency. to see whether we could resolve that appeal and get that done, and so we could proceed with distributing money to the class. They're being kind of unrealistic, and their claim is kind of large if you take it at face value, and so we don't seem to be able to come to a resolution very easily. So at this point, it looks like we're going to have to litigate and beat them at their own game, and go forward with the appeal in the Second Circuit. So that's the current game plan. If we can get a resolution, sort of on the road, we'll do that so we can get it done and be able to distribute the money. But right now we're in a litigation posture with them, and we'll get the appeal done, as quickly as we can. But obviously these things, do take time. The circuit is working though. I mean, they have moved to a telephonic hearing posture, and they are, moving forward with cases on the same schedule that they have before. But that's where we are. So there is unfortunately a delay in getting the money out to class members because of this objector that's kind of sticking their nose into this. But we are doing our level best to get that obstacle cleared, and that's where we are.
Thank you, Mr. Goldsmith. You want take a motion to accept that report?
I'll make the motion, Mandelaris.
Support, Seifert.
Mandelaris, Seifert. Madam Clerk?
Okay. Carpenter,
Yes.
Quartz,
Yes.
Seifert,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Mandelaris,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
Thank you.
And Mr. Judd, did you want to do Robbins Geller?
Certainly. So you also have your report from Robbins Geller. There are no new cases that they are recommending. So you can receive and file that report unless there are any questions.
Motion to receive report.
Support.
For Young. Madam Clerk?
Okay, Quartz,
Yes.
okay, Seifert,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Mandelaris,
Yes.
Young,
Young's muted.
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
Carpenter.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
Any informational items from anyone? Not already heard? Moving on, looks like all the conferences for this summer have been canceled. Hopefully be back to them by this fall. Maybe. And if no one has anything else, we'll...
Well, this is Seifert. Could I ask Jennifer if she's heard from Mapers or anybody for the fall, or is it still a day-to-day situation?
Frank, do you know anything about that? I haven't heard anything yet, but he would know before me, I'm sure.
Yeah, so we actually did a webinar last Friday on sort of how to conduct a meeting like this. And one of the things that was mentioned as we prepared for that webinar was that registration for the fall conference will be open soon. They're optimistic that they will still hold the fall conference, I believe is scheduled for Mackinac Island on mid-September, something like that. So as far as I know, the plans are to, proceed with that one. I'm hoping that they do. I'm really hoping we've turned the corner here soon and we can all meet in September. But rest assured that if anything changes, my office would know and we would certainly pass it on quickly to everyone else. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No? Anybody have anything else to add? If not, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion, Mandelaris.
Support, Carpenter.
Madam Clerk, one last time.
Seifert,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Mandalaris,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Quartz,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, another fine job. We'll have this figured out for sure by June, everybody.
Okay, this is Cypher. Everybody be safe out there.
Yes.
Frank,
too,
you got
sir.
shorts on?
Hold on. I'll stop my video. I'll see everybody at 3 o'clock.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.